Inspiration Nation, hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on a podcast. As always, Joe and Ryan both with me. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Yeah, pretty good.
Joe's just pointing at the camera, which works brilliantly on a podcast. Thank you for that, Joe.
I'm doing it for YouTube.
So for everyone listening, we will narrate Joe's actions today. He's now doing some weird cowboy thing. He's getting carried away with himself. This is fantastic. So, have we had good weeks then?
Yeah, my week's been good. Yours been alright?
There we go. Joe's still not talking. I'm good, thanks Ryan. Thank you for asking. This is the Lee and Ryan show. This week we are talking about some sort of computer games because that's what we like talking about.
Oh, what are we talking about? Can I get in that conversation? What is it?
Oh, now he wants to talk.
It'd be good. So before we get on with this, everyone out there, we thank you as always for listening to our rambles and madness. We are across all social media platforms at Listen to IN, Listen TOIN. I forgot there. It's been a few weeks since I did that. Joe is at JN Coaching Tech. Likes, shares, follows, all that good stuff. We appreciate all of it. Get involved in the conversation across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the like. So it now does lead me and Joe to say what we're talking about this week.
I thought we were going to do the little catch up. Come on, Lee. When we do our sort of personal sort of stories, what's going on here?
It kind of that petered out the last few weeks.
Yeah,
do we not
want to do a...
We're not petering this out. We're revisiting. Come on.
Go on then, Joe. How are you doing with all your stuffs?
No, it wasn't for me. I was going to do it for you, but if you're asking me, of course I'll say. But you guys, how are you getting on?
No. Joe, what are you proud of that you want to tell us about?
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm not. No,
because
I'm not proud of anything, to be fair. I've actually fallen off the wagon. Massively. Huge.
Okay.
Oh, that's why he wants to talk
Come
about
on
it.
then.
And he wants some.
Tell us what you're proud about for falling off the wagon. How many
No, I'm
bags
not
of
proud of
Doritos
it.
did you eat?
I'm not proud of it. I ate 5 bags of crisps last night. In a row.
Like when we say
we
say bags,
are we
is this
talking
like
share
little bags from a
or-
multi-pack?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
a mini
It's 25
cheddars.
grams. You know.
I mean,
Is that like a normal like lunchbox?
That's-
packet of
that's what-
crisps?
that's less than
What's that?
that's less than a big Doritos bag, I think.
No, was it
Yeah.
200 grams big Dorito?
I think so, yeah.
Blag.
I think
Blag. Is it?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
Off the top of my head, I think it's around that. I can't imagine it being much smaller than that.
So what have I had? 200? No, hang on. 125. Yeah, 125 grams of crisps, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. But there's everything.
That's still bad,
There's
though.
everything in moderation, though, isn't it? So you don't have any for the next week, then you've had.
Oh,
your-
Ryan,
Yeah,
you're making
so-
me feel good, man. You're making me feel really good because like, I'm thinking, I can justify this. This is just not good. I've really struggled. The thing was, I was watching. I don't know if you guys have watched it on Netflix called The Last Dance.
No.
Oh my god,
Is this your
so
new
good.
binge show, is it?
It's really good. It's about Michael Jordan, and I don't really like basketball. I'm not a real big basketball fan, but the actual story is so inspiring. I would recommend people to watch. I'd recommend Ryan and Lee to watch. It's very inspiring, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But the only thing I found is that I found a bit of a conflict because I was watching basketball, a real thing about fitness, and I was eating crisps. How weird's that? Like that, I think there's a contradiction right there. So, yeah. So I really suffered yesterday. So I really need to get out of that habit. I was doing really well, and then I just fell off the wagon. But I'm not doing it tonight because I've got this podcast. I think it's because, you know, we had a little bit of a break, didn't we, or something? I don't know, because it's like the recording's been a bit weird, isn't it? Because we've been a bit, and I think that's thrown me a little bit. Not that I'm putting
There we
that
go.
blame on that, 'cause
Blaming
that's
us,
wrong.
Ryan. Blaming us.
That's an excuse. But I
So,
feel like I
Joe,
just.
I
Yeah.
ask you, as I take another sip from my beer, what are you doing to get back on the wagon?
I'm just hoping. I love that. I'm hoping to just not eat crisps tonight. That's what I'm going to do. Starting again.
Okay.
Oh, do you know what? I've got my mug, and do you know what I've got in there? I've actually got. People see it on YouTube. Water. You see that? I want to do it on the Mac.
I find something very disagreeable about people who drink water from a mug.
Agreed. Heavily agreed.
I don't know, but let me
Yeah.
do that again. Hang on, let's go.
It's like drinking.
Which
it's
is,
like
I'm
drinking
not,
a cup
I'm not
How's
even
that
sure
for
I
you?
can do this anymore.
It's like
We're
drinking a
over.
cup of tea out of a gravy boat or something stupid like that.
Have you ever
It's
tried
just
it?
not right.
You ever tried it?
I don't like hot drinks, so no, I can't say that I have.
Don't knock it till you try it. That's what I say.
Tea
Anyway,
from a gravy boat.
anyway.
I feel a new T-shirt coming up.
Anyway, I've suffered with that. It's had a bit of cheese to top it off after the crisps, and then I felt really bad. And so, I've not been running for about a week.
Hold on.
and I need
Did
to
you
get back
just
on it.
did you just
Just
casually chuck in
chuck
that
in the
you had a
cheese.
bit of cheese
Yeah,
afterwards to top
yeah,
off
I
your
Yeah, I
did
cut
crisps?
it
it.
off. So I had the crisps, then I went cheese, and then I stopped after cheese. It's had a
Right.
crazy day, crazy evening. Like that was on the edge, living on the edge.
It just casually dropped in there. I'd imagine, in Dodgeball, where Ben Stiller just goes off the wagon and he gets really fat and he's sitting there just with Doritos running down his chest. I just imagine that's what you were like last night, Joe.
No, I wasn't that
I'll tell you
bad,
my- I'm going to drop in a little funny story you reminded me of before we get back on track from your casual chucking of the cheese to top it off on the end there like it wasn't a thing. So years ago, I was talking to someone who was talking about their dieting habits. And wasn't like overweight guy or anything else like that, but he was really talking about the diet and I just eat vegetables now. That's all I do. All I do is eat vegetables. It's really good, makes you really healthy. So just do a big tray of steamed veg, because it's vegetables, you can have as much as you want. So last night we had it and went through all the veg. And normally, just to take the edge off on the side, I'll just have something like a couple of sausages or a pie. And I was like, that's not just eating steamed veg. That's eating a pie. And it just
I quite like that.
complete. I wasn't joking,
I like-
complete seriousness, deadpan. And every so often, I just remember with a pie on the side, and it always makes me chuckle. And that's what you just did there with the cheese, Joe.
Cheese on the side. And we've got the cheese on the side.
Right.
I do love cheese, though. Seriously, I do love cheese. Like, yeah. I just cut a little slice off, like that big. Anyway, that big. But yeah. So, yeah, but I'm back on it. I'm going to annihilate the crisps. I just really struggle with potato chips or crisps, or whatever you want to call it. I really had my thing. They're like, struggle with them. Anything else, not too bad. I can just do it. Crisps.
Well,
Anyway.
I'm glad you shoehorned that uninspirational update in for the week, Joe. That's got everyone going out there.
Well, now it's your turn to be inspirational, right? So hopefully, you guys are going to turn it around. I'm still doing all the rest of the other stuff. It's just that I'm falling off the wagon with the crisps. Everything else is still in place, but it's just that. So I'm struggling with that.
I'll be quick.
Anyway,
I'll be quick. I've no cold showers.
don't be quick. Just
My
just
running's
do it.
gone off the radar a little bit. My shoes are gathering dust. Shake your head at me there, Griffy Bong, because you did 12 seconds of cold showering.
Is that still standing, that record?
Yeah.
Come on, Lee.
Not even 1 second.
Lee, come on.
But I will say, I feel like I've come through a weird period with this whole working from home because that's what kicked all this off for us, wasn't it? Routines have gone out the window, things are a bit different. There's no commuting, different workplace, and everyone. And I was part of what was a kind of society thing of getting quite lazy and then getting super fit and then settling back down again. But I don't know. I feel like I think I found my working from home self, my coronavirus or post quarantine self, whatever it is. My routine has just went completely out the window, and it's now settled down, but to quite a comfortable place where there isn't such a routine now because, I've got my working hours, but there's so much more time outside of everything, and I think I'm just settling down to be comfortable with whatever this world is now. If that makes sense.
Be
My
careful
biggest
of the comfort,
achievement
Lee.
out of
Be
it
careful
is
of the comfort, my friend.
the hair growing out. Not that it's not challenging and not doing stuff and not getting involved in things, but that I don't feel like I'm forcing a change or trying to find what this means or trying to define, that whole, we usually say when we go back to normal, when we go back to normal, when we go back to normal. And whilst things haven't gone back to February, I now feel normal. It's not like I'm living in some sort of limbo where I'm waiting for a change to happen. I feel it's settled down to this is how the world is now.
Yeah, I get that.
That's kind of how it feels at the moment. So while some of those activities have gone, I think there was a bit of a trying to find what this new world means, and I was trying lots of different things, and it feels like it's starting to calm down a little bit now.
I.e., lockdown beer in a midweek.
Well, it's just because it's very, very. So we're supposed to be having storms for like a week and a half now, and then every day it's just sunny, 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 sunny. So I do feel relax isn't the right word because there's loads going on, probably more than I've ever had, both in and out of work. But I don't think I'm trying to find normal. I think I'm back to normal, even though it's stuff that's completely different.
Found your equilibrium, have you?
Yeah, something like that. There you go. That's my hippie-ish. I've had half a bottle of beer statement for this podcast session. Ryan, as you shook your head at me, how are you doing?
Yes.
I just want to clarify.
Cold showers every morning?
I just want to
Cold
clarify for
showers.
everyone that half a beer to Lee is probably about 3 beers to most of the rest of the human race. So just give him a minute.
Let's expect.
Buckle up, everyone. Buckle up.
Watch out, people. He's on his way.
My whole dynamic's kind of changed, really. Lee, you were talking there about kind of you feel as though you can kind of get more involved in stuff now. You found a rhythm and stuff, but I feel like it's the opposite for me at the minute. I feel as though I don't have to be up at a certain time. My job role's become a lot more closed off than what it was before. So I feel like the freedom I had and the benefit I had of maybe getting up earlier, I don't need to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore because I work a set to a certain definitive time now. That that freedom has not been taken away, but it's kind of fallen apart, if you like. I don't know, I think I'm readjusting again. I don't like the idea of what we do now as being normal. It's not normal. I want it to go back to how it was. If we could go back to February and the whole situation in the world didn't happen, I would definitely take that. Which, as I'm sure the majority of people would, but I really I don't know. I miss the world kind of how it was before. And I can just envisage myself being in my 70s saying to my grandkids, well, you don't know how bad I had it in my 20s and things like that. But hopefully it doesn't stay forever long, and changes soon-ish, I guess. But I haven't definitely fallen off the bandwagon with the things that we were talking about before. I'm still up relatively early. I'm still setting the same alarms. I just don't have to be up that early anymore. So maybe there is an extra snooze button in there, or maybe I do take longer to get out of bed now than what I was doing before. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe do I feel like I've regressed? Maybe a little, but it's because the confines of what I do's changed. So I guess that changes along with it.
There's one thing you say there, and it doesn't mean I think it's a long-term fixture, but the one thing that will definitely happen is that when you're 70, you will be explaining this crazy time to your grandkids who just won't believe what it was like and what happened with it.
Yeah, for sure. I
totally agree with that.
I don't know. I felt a little off for maybe about a month now. I don't know. I just don't feel like me at the minute. I just don't feel. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I just don't feel as the happy-go-lucky kind of person that I tend to normally be. I don't feel like I'm sad or depressed or anything like that at all. No, but I don't know. I don't know if a little switch has been turned off because I've been cooped up for so long. Honestly, I don't know what it is. But yeah, it'll be all right.
Time to get back out into the world.
These things happen, don't they? Yeah.
So what does this happy-go-lucky Ryan look like? What's missing?
I don't know. I just don't feel as though I have as much fun now as what I did 6 months ago. I don't feel as though I'm a enjoyable person to be around as I was. I don't mean that in any kind of I'm a terrible negative person now. Not at all. I just wasn't to the level I was before. The chivalry and the banter that I have inside myself. Maybe we're in a bit. I don't know. Maybe where I just don't engage with that many people on a day-to-day basis anymore. I don't. Honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's weird. It's weird.
I think there's a lot to be said in that because, like Lee's been adjusting, and this is a bit of an adjustment period for you because you've gone through a lot, actually, haven't you? You've gone through a lot. Your job roles changed and lockdowns happened, so you're facing a really big challenge, aren't you, at the minute? And and you know, and it's okay not to be all right. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, of course.
At times like this.
I think the job I do is never sat still. There's always things that change around it and with it, as you both will know. So it's not as if change is something that comes out of the blue with it, and I'm like, oh god, it was perfect how it was. Why can't it go back? You can't be like that in the job that I do and the place that I work in. Change happens all the time, and you know that's a good thing. You don't want things being stale, do you? But I don't think change is necessarily the reason. Maybe the manner of the change, and maybe what specifically happened is part of the reason why I feel a bit down. Maybe, yeah, but I don't think the change in itself is the issue, if you like.
Well, it's really interesting you saying that, because I was watching some content today, and I don't know if it will resonate with you, Ryan, but any situation that we have, it's like this place who says look for the good. So try and looking for the good in things, and it's difficult when it's hard. You know, it's like, what is it that you can get out of this situation? What is there any sort of things that you can look at that, you know, what is the good? Is there any good that you can see? It's difficult sometimes to be able to see it when you're in this space, but that's the challenge, isn't it, to try and see it? And
I think,
is there anything that...
I think on a, I don't really know what you call, I'm sure there's a model for it, but on the glass half full, glass half empty scale, I've always been a bit of a realist, and you know, there's just, the glass has half the amount of liquid in it that it would need to be full, but also half as much or double the amount it would be or whatever if it was empty. You know, I'm quite in the middle, but I feel as though maybe at the minute I'm petering towards maybe a pessimist, if you like. I feel in a little bit I'm halfway in between realism and pessimism sometimes in just the way I act at the minute. I don't know. As I say, I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's causing it, and I don't know how to kick myself out of it, but I definitely know it was fine before this situation happened, so it's just logical to link it back up, I guess.
The bit, and I mentioned to you the other week, because obviously you're going through a journey with this and everything else, but your level of self-awareness, again, I think is so good that you can do this analysis of yourself and you can see where you are and you can track the journey and stuff, because I think that awareness is what will really help you as you move through this. Just being able to see where you are and notice the change in your behaviours and try and see what's shaping it and stuff, and not so much fight it as, you know, figure out what you want to do if you don't like where it's going, or riding the wave of what it is and being aware of that, and that, you know, we go through these cycles and everything as well. But I do think that awareness you've got and how you can comment on your own behaviours is something that's really, not just with this but onwards, is going to help you so much.
Yeah, I think I messaged you the other week and said I feel as though, what was the words I used? I'm going to break the rules and check my phone.
Whoa, phones on the podcast.
Break the rules. That's exactly what we need. Breaking the rules is exactly right.
What did I say?
This from, if people listen to all the shows, they'll know, speed limit Neuer.
Hey, of course.
Speed limit Neuer. I think I said to you the non-instant gratification is hard at the minute. Like, I feel as though I'm putting a lot of work into things and just not necessarily seeing results. That doesn't mean to say that they're not there. It's just I think a lot of the things I'm doing at the minute are slow burners. And I think, I don't know, maybe I need, the last couple of years I've had quite a lot of success with stuff that I've done professionally, kind of personally and things like that. And I think maybe where I've not had a glorified success, if you like, maybe that's what's doing me in on the inside. I don't know. As I say, I don't know what it is. It could be one of 1,000 things. I don't know. I've definitely
need a good quick win.
Yeah, I definitely am not sat here like down about life and kind of really negative about things, because that isn't the kind of person that I feel like I am. But I definitely, as I say, am not the kind of bubbly, enjoyable person that I feel like I was 6 months ago. And as I say, the only thing I can put it down to is the world going upside down. I don't know.
If it helps, Ryan, I never enjoyed spending time with you.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That's a joke.
You're
don't,
the wrong.
Don't make me feel guilty.
I'm joking. I'm joking. You're the wrong target market.
Oh, right. So, Joe, what is the subject for the day?
Okay, so really it sort of goes back to a bit of what Ryan's sort of talking about. Really, it was inspired by the Mandalorian series on Disney, and I hope I got this right because it's been a while since I watched it. Rebecca called It's the Way, where you're following your path, aren't you? You're following that path that's really you, and I want to talk about that a little bit, about your person-centered, how you're feeling, sticking to where you believe you should be. And I suppose, like when we're in situations like this where Ryan's really experiencing a real difficult time, and I can see it's difficult, it's really hard, and how we move through that in our own way. And I like that, because what will work for me will be different to what will work for Lee, and Ryan's worked for Ryan. Ryan's trying to find his way through this period, of his life. And like Lee said, it's when you're 70, look back at this period is what you did in those times. You'll reflect on those times, and I think it's important to be you, to recognize that you're a human being and you're going to respond to things or react to things in different ways, but being okay with that, but learning from it. And Ryan, and I'd agree with Lee that even though you're going through this difficult time at the moment, you really are reflecting on, you recognize that you're not the same bubbly person. And that's really important, because people who go through these types of things, sometimes they recognize it, and before they know, they've got these all behaviors in it, and they're like burning out, or everybody's struggling. But you seem to be very aware about, actually, I'm not feeling great at the minute, I'm struggling at the minute, but I'm aware of it, and that's good, because you can then look to see, okay, is there any shifts, little micro shifts I can make in my own way, in Ryan's way, not Joe's way, not Lee's way, but Ryan's way, in terms of moving forward. And that's really just discovering more about who you are. And I think through this podcast, I think you have, and I think that's what we talk about, the internal us, right? Because how I see the world is different to how you two see the world, and that's why this podcast works. Because we're all going to see it in different ways, and that's why I like that saying in the Mandalorian. It's the way, they've got a certain way they handle things, but they're all individual, the way they move through that journey. Everybody's different, and I really like that. And so, but the thing is, when we try and be ourselves, you'll have all these things. You might say, Ryan, you tried this. I mean, Ryan, what do you want to do with that? Or Lee, do you want to try? But the thing is, we can look at all these things, and I think it's Lee referenced it before, that we can take things that will help us, but we've got to mold them to who we are, or we don't take them. It may be good for someone else, but it's not good for us. We pick the right tools for our own situation. And I think, especially now, because we're in the middle of this pandemic, and lots of things are happening, and I think a lot of people are going through lots of changes. Actually, I think all of us are going through certain changes, but it's that whole thing around, okay, so what, looking at the hypothetical questions are, will it ever return to normal? And we talked about it before in the podcast. I don't think it'll ever return back to normal. I think there'll be a blend of it, and it's again how we adjust to that. And Lee was referencing earlier, if you heard him drinking his midweek beer, that he's finding his equilibrium. That's what I called it anyway, but he called it something else. I can't remember what he called it, Lee. But you're now finding your way through it, even though it was all messed up. I've had this really strict routine, right? Really strict, and now I've fallen off my bags of crisps. And so I've still got these challenges going on, although I've still got my routines that I hold on to because they keep me disciplined. And Ryan, you're sort of, you're still keeping up early, but you're still finding your feet with it in your Ryan way. And I think it's all important. And I think although we can listen to other people, and answer people's questions, it's important to move through this position in our own way and recognizing it's okay, because it's our journey to find who we really, really are. And through this difficult time, and I believe that move through these difficult times and how we deal with these difficult times defines our character. And if we can hold our heads up and just keep moving forward, even if we don't feel like it, we just keep moving forward at like slow as you can. You're just taking those inches or even centimeters or even millimeters. It doesn't matter, as long as you just keep moving forward in one way. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. And I just wanted to reach out to our audience, really, because, I think we've got a community of inspiring people, and I want to call them the inspirers, because I coined that the other day, but this is where we need this, right? We need this podcast's needed for people to recognise that people are going through a difficult time. How do we find tools that work? And you should just go into our portfolio. But I think at this time it is just to move forward in whatever way you can, but look for the good. I've referenced it earlier. Just look for something good you can hold on to just to get you through that day, get you through that hour, get through that minute, and recognise that this will pass. Lee referenced 70 years' time. This will have passed. The human race has gone through like bubonic plagues and all that sort of thing. It will pass. It's just going to take its time. And I recognise we are only here on this planet for a very short amount of time. And so this, although we think it's a long amount of time, it's actually going to be quite a short amount of time when we look back on this period. So any thoughts on any of that lot, guys?
It's sad, Joe, that whilst me and Ryan will be, you won't be here in 70 years' time to have those conversations.
How do you know what will be what?
Cool, I won't.
Could you be like 190 by then?
I won't be here in 70 years' time.
Yeah, you will. You'll be fine. I'll be here. You'll be here. We'd have had Joe's funeral like 50 years before or something. It's all good.
50 years? What am I going 50 years from now? What's that? Oh, that could be. Yeah, actually, you could be right on that. Yeah. You never know. They might find the special thing where they elongate the telomeres. The telomeres being the time clock for the body, right?
Would you?
They're doing a lot of research on that.
Would you take infinite life?
I don't know if I would.
Just a byproduct question.
Because would you, if you could have infinite time, and I think it's about like this period, would you get bored?
Eventually, after maybe like 10,000 years, but there's so many cultures that you could live through. There's so many generational differences that you could explore that I think the world would always find a way to amaze you. But yes, I do think eventually, things aren't unlimited. You would eventually find a way. See, I think I probably would. But the only thing that I would be the only thing I'd find difficult about it is I would be the only one. So losing loved ones every 80 years or whatever it is would be really difficult. But I think other than that, yeah, I think I probably would.
So is this going to be your way, Ryan? Like, when you think of that, if we think about the amount of time, and it's really interesting you said about that, like, we have infinite amount of time. If we had infinite, what would we do? And knowing that we haven't got an infinite amount of time, I think is a really good question. So what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Because your time's limited. And we wake up, don't we? We take a lot of things for granted. Like we'll wake up tomorrow, we'll take our next breath, but that's not guaranteed at all. And we don't know what's going to happen. So it's really important that, when we're looking at where we're going and what we want to do, it's important that we do, get up every day with an intention to sort of move forward to try and be better than we were yesterday. In fact, I was looking on Instagram today, and I think Mark Drake was talking to the CEO of McDonald's CEO in Canada, and I think it was like the CEO's mantra was "beat yesterday," which I thought was quite cool. Beat yesterday. So whatever you did yesterday, can you be slightly better today? And I quite like that as a mantra. So even if you struggled, and even on Instagram now, I'm getting some people reaching out to me that people are struggling out there. I'm getting messages and stuff like that. And my words just encourage you to stick in there, hang in there, stay in the game. Just don't ever give up, and just do something that's find the good and do something that's going to make you better than you were. Whether it's getting up that 1 minute earlier, it doesn't matter. 1 minute, 30 seconds, I don't care. Just something that's going to shift you a little bit. If you fall off the wagon like I have this week, get back on. Really get back on, because it's your way, right? This is your way. You want to be better. You want to be better because you're listening to this podcast. You want to be better than you were yesterday. And if you listen to all these episodes, I'm hoping you come on this journey with us. That we've got to this stage, and we're in lockdown, but we're here. We're alive. We've had an opportunity to do things, irrespective of what's going on. In our lives, we can hold on, and sometimes it's really difficult, but it's holding on and just moving that beast forward. And so, it's just I would just say that to people, because I know, in the podcast with Lucy Laker we've had that was released. People might find it really difficult this period, with their thoughts, not meeting lots of people. And we're hoping this podcast, like Ryan's been really honest about how he's feeling. I think people are a lot of feeling that, and that's why we say to Ryan, Lee and I always say to Ryan that reach out, because we're always here, and we're always here as a trio. We always support each other, no matter what goes on. And we still do this podcast. And for me, that's moving forward, right? That's moving forward. And it's the way we have chosen to move forward. And I think it's that Mandalorian saying, it's the way we've chosen, right? But we do it in our own individual way within the trio, which I think is really, really special. And I think Ryan was referencing it before, I think not a lot of us have stuck with something for this long. And we're starting to see a few buds of growth and stuff, which is fantastic. Anyway, I've talked too much. I've talked a lot of time on there, tons of time. Over to you guys.
So a year and a half we're at now, I'm going to say, something like that.
I think we might be about a month short. I think we're week 75 this week. I think.
Wow.
Oh yes, a couple of weeks.
We're about 3 weeks short. 78 would be 52 and 26.
We are pushing that. So Joe, first of all to you, your way then. So using your crisps and cheese that you keep forgetting to mention.
I forgot the cheese. I did forget the cheese.
And it's not, it's not, as we all do with these things, you have these blips with the snacking thing, and then you get yourself back on the wagon again. So is your way to be better each day than you were the day before? Or is your way to have a vision and, you push ahead with that? If there's a setback, you don't let that drop you off and you push on again. What's your way that keeps you going?
Well, my routine is my way. That's what keeps me straight and narrow. It's every day. So my journaling, so the everyday video is my way, right? Every day I'll journal off the back of that, and I journal first, and then I'll do the video, and that keeps me on the straight and narrow. So like all of that is still together. It's just that crisp thing that's knocked me off. So it's one thing out of, I don't know, 10 things each day. But I'm really I get super annoyed at myself when I do it. I know I'm doing it. It's like no one puts those crisps in my mouth. I put them in, right? No one else puts them in for me, right?
Conjures up a vision.
I can't blame anyone else. What was that?
It conjures up a vision. People force feeding you crisps.
Oh, yeah, weird. But yeah, so it's that whole thing is that I choose to do it in the moment. It's the feeling I want to eat, and then I don't really need to eat. But it's that whole. So it's the way for me. It's like that routine has really held me together. Now, if I didn't have that, that would be, that's been my way over the last couple of years. Since the podcast creation, the thought, and all that we talked about, right? That talk in the pub we talked about, that and all those journaling and what was that 644 I think today is that way. So it's like, another day I've got through. I've done some good successes. So at the end of the day, I'll go back and I'll record what went well today. That's when I look for the good. So even if I had the really most shockingest day ever, the worst ever, I'm looking to say, okay, what did go well? 3 things. All I want is 3 things that went well. And it doesn't matter if everything else went to pot. Then I could pick 3. Can I be grateful for 3 things that went well today? It could be things like today, having this podcast. Just this. So I could have had the worst day ever, which I haven't. It's been a really hard day. But I can go to this podcast. I can write and go, I had the podcast with him, Ryan. Really loved that, and I do love these podcasts, and that would be something that I can go back to. And so for people listening might say, I listen to the podcast. That might be that thing for you could recognise. Speaking to Live with Angela the other day, and she was saying about looking out the window and going, actually, I can appreciate there's another sunrise, right? I think it's these small things that we can recognise that are good in what we have. There's a lot of things, even now, where people think, I've had this taken away. There are still things we can take for granted, like breathing. But you should be. I'm grateful for breathing. And things like that. But it is really sort of digging into all that sort of thing, and that's my way. But that's the way I'll deal with it, and that's not going to be the way that you're going to handle it, and that's not the way that Brian's going to handle it. But there might be things in there that think, well, actually, I'm going to try this or I'm going to try that, right? And you did ask the question, and now I've talked for an even longer amount of time and taken even more airtime. But you did ask.
Because I was thinking, what is mine? And like I said earlier at the start of this, finding some differences and stuff, and I still think there's some stuff one of the things I think that's really in my thoughts at the moment, went back to a few episodes ago, Joe, so the Mark Drager interview. And I think I sent you a few messages and stuff when I was listening to it the other day, because it really spoke to me. And there's one thing in there from Mark that he said that really, really stuck. So there's a lot of things he was saying that really resonated and made me think, oh, that sounds a bit like me. But ways I've not thought about things before. And one of the sort of areas you were questioning him on was about happiness. So he was talking about what makes him happy, what doesn't, saying he wasn't really. And you kind of questioned him and said, well, you've built this multi-million-pound business, you're doing this, that, and the other. Surely that success drives some happiness. And he said no. And he said it took him a long time to realise it. And I'll try and articulate this all correctly, because it's still the way my brain works isn't always completely linear. But if you would say, oh, you've built this business, it's a great success, all he remembers is all the steps on the way to getting there and the challenges and the hardship, or more so that this could be better. It's almost like at each stage, it's like, well, let's do this, let's do the next thing, let's do the next thing, let's do the next thing. So he's constantly living in that let's do the next thing, which is exactly where he is now. So he never gets to this pinnacle of happiness. And I was thinking I think my brain works a bit like that in my head, there's a place to get to that once I get there, it's completed. But that place never actually exists for me, because that's not how my brain works. It's always looking for, well, this could be different, or this could be better, or this could be challenged, or what's the next thing here. So I think there's a little bit of my brain that's always been striving to get to this place of nirvana that never actually exists. And I think listening to him talk about that was a real epiphany moment for me, that has just tweaked a bit my focus. So it's not changed that part of my brain that's like, let's make it better, let's do this different, what can I do this, how can I drive this forward, how can I move on? I think I'm just embracing that as my good place rather than the place I'm sitting in until I get to the imaginary good place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like the present moment, isn't it? It's about sitting where you are, and there's nothing wrong with that whole progression piece, but it is appreciating and enjoying where you are right now.
Well, that's it,
because you never get to enjoy your life, do you?
So I don't think it stops that drive to get to the end place. So I'm still doing all the actions to push stuff forward. I think I'm more comfortable that there probably won't be this end place where I never worry about anything, which is this imaginary place that exists in my head. And I think that's kind of a bit of, to use a phrase, of the way at the moment. I think I'm just becoming, from my specific personality type, a bit more, again, and we talked about this a lot, and I said to you probably a few months ago now, Joe, that I really started to get my head around the whole concept of enjoying the journey more than what the end result is. And I think this is a part of that that's just helping me internalize all this stuff that's going on and how I feel about it, and probably why I feel a bit more relaxed right now. Isn't, like I said, there isn't less going on. I just think I'm looking at it a bit differently. And I say the way in that interview Mark spoke about it just really, really spoke to me and was a bit of a light bulb moment. So I think that's fueling what is my way at the moment, if that all makes some sense, and gives a good reference to people who've not listened to it. Pop back a couple of episodes to the Mark Drager interview with Joe.
Yeah, it does, because it's about that whole, the moment your life is happening right now, and we can just live in that future. And there's never going to be a future where you don't have worries. You're always going to have them. You have worries and problems, and I think there is no such place, because it doesn't matter where you get to, you're going to have some sort of problem. And I think you're right, and I think we do. And I think like that. You are, but but actually, when you're like, whatever it is you are, there's always going to be some sort of problem that you need to solve. And that's why I asked about the question about happiness. And happiness is your life right now. What can you appreciate? What can you enjoy? Enjoying that journey, which is so important. And he talked, not Mark Drager, but you hear about loads of millionaires. They're actually so unhappy. They're just not fulfilled. Like Robin Williams, bless him soul, right? Made the world laugh, right? Gone. Wasn't happy. Made everyone else laugh. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I think through this podcast, I'm hoping that, like you said, Lee, you're finding I'm enjoying this life right now. I'm not going to stop striving, which you shouldn't. You should still look to improve, but you can enjoy that journey, enjoy where you are right now, and appreciate what you have, and what you're enjoying right now. And I think there is a lot of practice in that, and I'm still trying to do that through meditation, stuff like that. So Ryan, what about you? Any thoughts on any of that?
I don't think I live my life to improve it, all the aspects around it on a day-by-day basis. I think I struggle to see progress in things. So I think it's more of a case of I live my life and I make the decisions I make, and then when I reflect on things, I then go, oh wow, that was big, or that was impressive, or whatever. There's never really a time where I kind of sit in the moment and go, this is a really big decision, unless it's a completely obvious big decision, or that was a big thing that you've just done, or anything like that. It's more on reflection for me, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think it means that I'm always focused on what I want to do at the time, and save the time for thinking about how it went or anything like that for after the fact, and reflecting back on things. For me,
you are more in the moment probably, and like you said, your personality type reflecting. And the thing Joe caught the phrase Joe coined for it, careful because I have 2/3 of a bottle now, so it's going crazy now. He said joining the dots backwards. So you do all these things, and it's when you look backwards at them you see how they all link together, rather than stressing too much about it in the moment.
I think I don't really have a prime example of me doing it, but there's definitely been times where maybe we've worked together and it wasn't until afterwards that I thought back and thought, cool, what I did there was actually pretty helpful, pretty good. So I think the fact I don't get caught up in the moment in those kind of things is a good thing, because it keeps me focused on what I need to do and what I set out to achieve. For me,
I think it's really good, because I think it's about that. It limits it. Like if you can think like that, it's because you've got the same personality type as my beloved, the adventurer, haven't you? Like, and my wife's very much like that, lives in the moment, and you can take those decisions without that, almost like that fear, which is really great, because like I'm a bit different. Like I've got this decision, I've got my decision, it's going to be big, but I love that you can just do it and just go with it in that moment.
It's almost as if at the time I don't care. It's almost as if at the time I literally couldn't care any less about the situation until afterwards I have time to think about it. I can't really think of a specific example to give you right now, but there's been plenty of times where I've had to make decisions, or I've done things, or I've been a part of things, usually at work, where they've made a bit of a change, or they've gone out to people and it's helped them, or even for myself, I've achieved something that is quite a renowned achievement, if you like, and it wasn't until sometime later that I look back at it and go, cool, that was alright, good job. It just, that kind of thing, just I don't really do that. So for me it's a bit I just look back at things rather than focus on them at the time.
I think that's living in the moment. I mean, that's really something that's pretty special when you can do that, which is like something that I definitely try and practice. But when I have a decision, and that's when I use the lens of inspiration to look at stuff, because if I use that, then I feel less fearful when I use that. If I use that lens, but sometimes I'll forget to use it. I'm thinking, hang on, that's what I've got to use. And I think it's really, really useful. And I think it's great. And they say you look back, you do reflect, which is again, a great trait to have, because actually you can learn from stuff. And if it didn't go so well, you can do it after the moment, after the fears. Not even when you feel fear, right? You look at it and go, oh, that was pretty big, but actually you'd gone through it. It's a really good way of looking at things, I think. And I think it's probably quite natural for you by the sounds of it. It's quite a natural thing that you do. And it's not natural to a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, it's really good. Really good. Yeah.
Speaking of good decisions, a good decision to make is to head over to inspirationnation.org.uk. Click on the shop button at the top, find yourself some fantastic Inspiration Nation merchandise.
He is definitely going. Ryan, he's definitely going.
We're going to have to end this in a minute. You can't hold yourself together.
He's going to fall off his chair. I could hear the chair creaking when he was talking at one point.
You're throwing me off, guys. You're throwing me off. So anyway, for our valued listeners out there, T-shirts, hoodies, leggings, phone cases, the all favourite tote bag, and of course the mugs are all over at inspirationnation.org.uk. Can we do a mug shot on the screen, guys?
Yes.
I think mine's out of
Oh,
reach.
Ryan's thinking.
Mine's out of reach,
no.
I'm afraid.
So it's on mine. So I'm going to do. Joe, as always, you are the only mug on screen right now.
Mug.
I've got a glass. There you go.
There we go.
It also has the brand of beer Lee's drinking written on it, so I'll cover it.
No, you've got to scribble it out though. Other brands are available. There's no
I'm
endorsement whatsoever.
Non-endorsement person. However, if this beer that sounds like Budweiser wants to get some endorsements, just send me a case and we'll put you on the podcast.
That's too cheap, Lee. At least a couple of cases. Come on, man.
I want beers.
Got to get some to Ryan.
3 cases, 1 for Ryan, 2 for me.
It'll take you about 3 years to get through them.
And some water for Joe's mug to Inspiration Nation.
I'm going to make them feel really uncomfortable now, both Ryan and Lee, drinking my water out of my mug.
I'm just not going to look.
It's not right. It's not right. Let's not forget as well, listen to this fantastic coaching advice today at the same address, inspirationnation.org.uk. There's full details for the Inspiration Nation coaching service. Free 20-minute consultation. As we always say, full money-back guarantee if the service isn't for you. Just head over there, watch some of the videos showing some coaching in action, pop in your details on inquiry form, and we will be back in touch with you. Once again, inspirationnation.org.uk. There we go. Got through my adverts.
You did just about. Well done. Well done. But yeah, so I suppose this is just episodes we've been about, I think, just finding your own way. There is going to be your own. You can only walk your own path and things like that. And I think we referenced it quite a lot of previous podcasts as well. So it's just really about that. It is really doing that way. And I think, the way we do it is going to be very individual to us, but we want to be proud of ourselves at the end of that journey. We want to be proud. And like doing this podcast, we're walking this journey all together, all 3 of us, right? And, it's leaving a legacy already. It's already leaving a legacy. And we're only, what you said, a year and a half on in. And we, we're having these podcasts. We're not sure sometimes where they're going to go or how they're going to move. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Ryan, I've got about 3 videos that's happening. I've got 3 videos going now because this alarm thing keeps coming up and it keeps buzzing. Anyway.
Like your phone, Ryan, 26 alarms going off in an hour.
So the thing is with it, I've just set up these snoozer. It's really, so I watch a bit of content and I want to be able to be conscious throughout the day. So these alarms, and I've set them in a really inconvenient time because clearly it's right in the middle of a podcast. But what it is to remind me to take 10 deep breaths, 10 deep conscious breaths, so I don't get lost in the stuff and get myself out of the busyness of the day. And that was just one of them. Right in the middle of a podcast is not the best time. I can't really sit here and just take 10 conscious breaths talking to you guys. But that's why I'm setting them. So I don't know how to deactivate it right in the middle of the podcast now because I don't want to disturb the video. But anyway, that's what we're doing, trying lots of different things.
It is a challenge for Joe to take a breath during a podcast, so it's probably not the best time for the alarms to have gone off.
Thanks, Lee. You're so good. I love that. That's so good.
So I'm here for humour of the Inspiration Nation.
Yes, so I laid a little bit of a challenge to Ryan and Lee about creating some content, which I'm hoping they're going to take up. I'm just going to leave it at that. I've placed an idea in the chat, and I'm really looking forward to see whether they do something. I think it'd be great.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really read it. I skimmed over it, but I didn't really take it in.
Wow, Ryan.
I'm going to be completely honest.
Wow, Ryan. That's what I'm saying to you. Wow.
Right, and that's what I do with all these messages. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Wow,
no. Let's talk about this on air now because I like this idea, Joe.
What if I don't?
Ryan,
what if I don't like it? No.
Well, you're going to have to be honest. You don't like it. It's fair enough. You don't like it, you don't like it.
So we've alluded to on the show, and we've talked through, obviously we don't talk about our real world jobs, but me and Ryan in our real world jobs, a little while ago put together some internal videos where there was a bit of fancy production around them and stuff. So we did, one dressed up as Ghostbusters, a fantastic Christmas Carol parody and a few other things like that. So I think Joe's suggestion is we do a couple of videos like that to help with a bit of inspirational theme behind them, Ryan, which I'm quite up for doing if I'm honest.
That mean I have to come and see you?
It does mean you have to come and see me, or I can come and see you, one or the other.
See, that's the difficult part. That's the bit I don't like.
And I did, as a part I went in this week and I cleared out some stuff from the office at work where it's been home working for so long. And as a part of doing this, we built up a bit of a collection of costumes, and I now have all of our fancy dress costumes, Ryan, so we can repurpose these for some Inspiration Nation videos.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking forward to these. I think this would be great.
It sounds as though my hands are tied because you've made the decision already, but I'm in.
Oh yeah.
You like it, so it's all right. It's good. So we're going to do some videos.
Oh, I think it's going to
look out for them coming soon to Twitter and Instagram and other social media things that I'm not very au fait with.
I'm looking forward to it already. So don't forget to tag me, guys, because I'll be sharing mine. I love that. I love the thought of this already.
That's good. I think, as always, Joe, really good subject. And I do think it's an important message to everyone about, like you said, just being conscious of and being proud of and being comfortable with having, your own way through things. Because the three of us are all on similar journeys one way or another. We're all going through the same things that are going on in the world right now, but we've all got very different personalities and we've all got different views on it, and we're dealing with it in very different ways, but all right for us in what we're looking to do as well. And I do think that's a really important message to put out there for everyone. So it's good. I like it.
Yeah, and I'd say that because, everyone's who listens to this podcast now is an individual, and I think just take what you need, try what you need, and just try it and see. Try lots of different things. And even Gary Vee says that sort of stuff. And I know he says you should be trying loads of different things, loads and loads of different things before you find the right thing for you. And that's the way of it. That's the way. And again, I don't think people try enough stuff. And I think there's a lot of mileage in that.
No, excellent. Ryan, do you have any closing thoughts on the subject?
No, I'm good.
That's right. One day you're going to go into this whole kind of spiel about stuff, and it's just going to completely throw us off completely.
Blow your mind.
As always, we thank everyone out there for listening. We've been Inspiration at Listen to IN, Listen TOIN across all platforms. Please give us a follow, like some of the content, give us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show, whichever device you're listening on to now. If you can leave us a review, hit that 5-star button, hit that subscribe button, and you'll get the show as soon as it comes out each and every week. Joe, of course, is at JN Coaching Tech. The daily videos still coming out there across Twitter, Instagram. JN Coach, is it JN Coaching Tech on YouTube as well?
JN Coaching Technology on YouTube.
That's what I said. Everyone heard that. JN Coaching Technology. And of course, we are the Inspiration Nation podcast, also on YouTube. Lots of content out there. We appreciate all the support. We'd love you all to get involved with it. As always, we'll be back again next week. Oh, in between that as well, we've started, a few episodes have gone out where we've done interviews and stuff. We've got some more planned. We're looking to do some more of them. We're going to start dropping the interviews each week when we've got them as bonus episodes for everyone. So start looking out for them as well. As I referenced now, Mark Drager, one in particular, really spoke to me. Some other great interviews there. Just look back in the archive to listen to them as well. We'll be back again next week. All that's left, I think, is for me to count us down.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys later.